18,000. 18,000 homeless fighting for their lives on the fatal streets of Seattle, Washington. This population was the key focal point of 16 Spring Arbor University students during their spring mission trip.
We did a lot of work with the church I was staying at, a lot of just maintenance work, just tidying up the church itself, just cleaning, doing outside trimmings for the hedges on the sidewalks. We had students go out there, work with the food bank that they had, and they also just had some general ministry work for the homeless population. That was at Epic Life. Another big one was New Horizons, and that was a 18 to 25-year-old homeless shelter where they provide housing, food, breakfast, lunch, dinner to 18 to 25-year-olds in particular, and they just work with them to get appropriate housing outside after 100 days.
We also got to clean up a homeless encampment, and yeah, it was cool getting to see all the different things that were there and the different things that you see in your house, and seeing them in the middle of the woods. It was really a cool experience as well. So it was fun getting to serve alongside other people who live in Seattle and just be able to clean up and stuff. It was just a really rewarding thing.
Everyone's favorite thing was Reach. That was the last day we were there, and we just went into the heart of Seattle and had a corner kind of with pizza and coffee, and just went and told people on the street, hey, we've got pizza and coffee, come and get it, and just prayed with them, listened to their stories, and it was really, all of it was so cool.
These students used their spring break to serve the homeless community in another state and were left changed. But something that we fail to realize is that these same issues are seen right here in our own backyard.
I was definitely thinking about that on the trip of how can we bring these things back to Spring Arbor, because even if it's not homeless ministry, there's many different kinds of ways that we can minister to those we see in the grocery store or even on campus. There's just so many people who are hurting and who are broken, and it doesn't mean that they don't have a house, but maybe they just don't have the Lord. Anyone without the Lord, they're truly lacking. So it's how can we bring that here?
COVID and the signs of what happened during COVID really, and the aftermaths, and as we're pulling out of it, you see much more homelessness. Here's the simple facts. People were able to double up a lot more, and especially during COVID. No one could get evicted during the time of COVID. Now what's happening is they're getting a lot more stricter in these apartment complexes, low-income housing, where they're not letting you double up. You cannot, you risk losing your own housing if you have someone stay with you. Evictions are going through, and they're going through rampantly. You will see a lot of things that are going on with, say, the low-income housing, where they're going through and doing the evictions because they have to be able to, even though it's a low amount and they are subsidized, they have to be able to collect that money to be able to sustain the maintenance that's needed, for the utilities that needed, the water needed. They have to be able to get that money. So you see a lot more of that.
Thankfully, there are local ministries all over whose goal is to help all sorts of struggling populations. There are ministries like food banks all over that aim to help those who are struggling with getting access to food, just like the one students volunteered at in Seattle. Similarly, there are also homeless shelters operating right here in Jackson who aim to provide housing, support, and Jesus to the people in our community facing the traumatic reality of homelessness. They provide food and shelter for men, women, children, and families. They are expanding to be able to house more families and continue striving to help more and more in the community. And there is so much that we can do too.
Recognize that that homeless person could have been their neighbor 2 months before. Over 90% of a lot of Americans are 1 to 2 paychecks to homelessness themselves, and recognizing that they could be them. They are no different than any of us that are working. We are more fortunate because we have a job, but they are just like us. No one is any different. So recognizing that fact.
What's the difference between us and them? The answer? Nothing. What these students experienced was more than a trip. It was life-changing. So the next time you walk down the street, think of all the people who need to live there. Whether they're in Seattle or your backyard, there is always something you can do.